So last year, Martin won the Paddlesworth long jump competition. Here we go. Oh! I think we might have a winner there. Yep, it's armour tough, that one. But this year, I want to take the title. I want to win it. So I'm going to build myself a custom build and see if I can win. Now, Martin's built quite a few cars and the competition's going to be tough, and there's probably going to be other competitors. Here it is. So here we have a brand new Armour Typhon 6S, and this is what I'm going to base the build around. The reason for choosing a buggy is because buggies just seem to fly so far. They seem to jump so far, so high, and they're also really durable. And you know, this thing here can do 70 mile an hour out of the box, probably with like optional stuff, optional gearing. Yeah, but anyway, I know that this is going to do more than 70 mile an hour with the right gearing. The distance of the jump is probably governed mainly how fast you can hit the ramp. The trouble is, when you've got loads of power, getting loads of power into these rigs is easy. I can make it 8S, I could gear it up. The power of this is not going to be the issue. That's easy. The issue is going to be putting that power down onto the ground. And what usually happens when you overpower something, it just wheelies like crazy and you just cannot get the power down. So my thinking behind it is making it long wheelbase. So here we have a M2C chassis, which is supposed to be for the Armour Mojave. It's the longest wheelbase 1/8 scale car that they make, as far as I know. So I've kindly got sent a M2C chassis from Mitch from M2C Racing. So massive shout out to Mitch. So we're going to be fitting that onto that car, making it long wheelbase. Also, I've got some GpM Hinge Pin Braces to make it stronger. I've got some M2C chassis support braces that go from here onto the gearboxes. We've got some, whatever these things are called, pillow ball retainer nuts, because the stock ones they can back out. We've got the heavy duty shock standoffs, because the stock ones they break all the time. And we've also got a shock upgrade package. So these pistons here, they actually have an O-ring that fit inside the groove, and they're supposed to give super smooth shock operation. So they've also got the bleeder style shock cap. So I think they call it an emulsion style shock. I don't know, I'm not an expert. We probably won't fit these today. I'm going to leave those for a different video. I've still got some more here that I've actually got to fit onto the Creighton and onto the outcar. Also, I've got a Just Bash It RC servo mount that I'm going to be putting onto this rig. I also still need to get some shock towers. Still undecided which ones I'm going to go for. I'm just going to keep the stock ones on there for now. Probably going to RPM it as well. RPM arms. But for now, let's just get the chassis on it, get the build underway, and see if we can get this thing working. And by the way, there's going to be a link to where you can get all this M2C stuff, the Just Bash It RC stuff, and also where you can get the car from. So there's going to be a link to all of that lot down below. And I know all of that stuff is super, super tough and durable, because I've got all of that same gear, pretty much, on this Armour Creighton 6S. And that is probably the strongest RC car that I have. But anyway, enough waffle and more action. So let's unbox the car, have a look, and start doing some wrenching. Subscribe! So there we go, it looks pretty cool. But hopefully, it's going to look a lot cooler after this video. So we've got a 6S motor, 185 amp power system, battery compartment there with enough space for a 6S LiPo. This should give us more than enough power. If not, we can always upgrade it. We can always give it a Max 6 ESC, which can run on 8S LiPo. And we can also upgrade the motor, but we're going to run it on the stock setup at the moment and just see how it goes. Because I'm thinking this is going to be more than quick enough. Ooh, what's down there? We got mess. Oh, the centre transmission's been leaking. Look at that. It's all inside the box. No big deal, though, because we're probably going to upgrade that to a silicone earplug. And if you don't know what a silicone earplug does or is, it's basically an earplug that you put in your ear to, I don't know, if your wife's nagging at you, I suppose you can put these in and you don't hear it. But I don't have a wife, so I use it to put it inside differentials, because it almost locks up the differentials fully, but it still gives a little bit of play, so you've still got a little bit of give and a little bit of forgiveness in the power system. People back in the day used to laugh at me for doing this, but now I've seen on the Facebook groups quite a lot of people have started doing it. Oh no, not the Spectrum STX2. Man, these things suck severely. There's a massive delay on them, so if you're trying to jump, it's so unpredictable, and also the range sucks. So we need to get a lot more speed out of this. That's the best place for that. So I'm going to be putting one of these Dumbo RCs onto it. These are crazy dirt cheap. They're about $20 or $30. They've got officially a half a kilometre range, 500 metres, and I've actually got it a lot further. And this is the same radio that I'm using on my Traxxas X01, which I'm going to be racing hopefully against the Lamborghini at some point. So there's going to be a link to where you can get one of these from down below. Do you know what? I don't know why Armour went away from these Tactic radios. These were actually really good, and everybody liked them. Now they've gone to these Spectrum ones. Oh man. And I'm not knocking Spectrum. The better Spectrums like the DX5C and the Spectrum radio that comes with the Infraction and with the Kraton 8S. That radio actually seems pretty good. And I've even got a Spectrum DX8 that I used to use when I used to fly model helicopters that I'm going to get back into very soon. So I am a Spectrum fan. I'm just not a fan of that STX2. Come on, get in there. So I think as a plan of action, I'm going to start doing it in sections. I'm going to take the front end off first and then fit the front end. Then do the rear end, fit the rear end onto the chassis, and then lastly do the centre section. Because if I just take it all off in one go, it's just going to be a whole load of parts everywhere, screws everywhere, and it's going to make it a lot more difficult to remember where all the bits go. Hopefully they haven't used bastard strength Loctite in here. Oh my god, they have. So some of the Armour cars, they like to use crazy strong Loctite, which is good in a way that it doesn't fall apart when you're out bashing. But if you want to wrench on it, it can be a pain in the butt. So we're going to have to get some heat on there, heat up these screws to get them out. So I've got this little butane torch here. So I've been doing that for a couple of minutes now. Let's see what happens. Oh my god, still not. So next option, I've got this crazy hot soldering iron. It's way too hot for normal soldering. This whole section here, at night when the lights are off, actually glows red hot. So I'm just going to shove that on there, let it chill for a little while, and then hopefully that's going to get it off. Alright, there we go. We've got it there, hooking up on the UDR. We're going to leave it on there for 10 minutes. Hopefully it's going to come out. If worst comes to the worst, we're just going to have to get one of these ugger-duggers on there, give it hell. If it strips off, I've got some thread extractors, and if it still won't come out after that, then we'll have to drill it out. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. So while that's happening, let's unpack it, some of these parts. So here we have the chassis. There's the part number. This chassis is made from 7075 aluminium. What that means is it's super strong. It's probably the strongest grade aluminium that you can use on an RC car. I think it's even aircraft grade, something crazy like that. But the thing is, it's actually got some kind of memory built in. So if you bend it, it's going to kind of bend back. It's got like springiness into it. When you go to the stock chassis, they bend a lot easier. You know, I'm not even going to go into the chassis on these Armour cars that they use. I've bent every single one almost on the first outing. So upgrading to like an M2C, if you're going to be bashing it anything above sort of medium, I would say, you're going to need a better chassis. And in my opinion, the M2C racing ones are the best ones that I've seen so far. It's got these little steel ball bearings pressed into where the bump stop screw would go, I mean the droop screws. It kind of stops the aluminium from wearing away. And just the overall fit and finish of these is absolutely perfect. So here we have the front and rear centre braces. There's the part numbers there. Here's the pillow ball retaining nuts. So the stock ones, they tend to back out relatively easily. If you look at these, I've got a shoulder here. And the idea is that that shoulder embeds itself into the plastic and kind of locks it in place. You'll see more of that later on in this video, what's going on there. And here we have the 4mm shock standoffs. So the stock ones, they use a 3mm bolt that goes into this part here, and they just break off so easily. So these ones here, I've actually been running these on the Kraton 6S and I haven't broken any. They've been working absolutely perfectly. Then I've got these servo mounts here from Just Bash It RC. Not sure if I need the taller one or the shorter one. We'll see once we get to fitting it. And then here we've got the Gpm Hinge Pin Braces, and these are the ones that go on there. So more of that later as well. And I've been running these actually on the Armour Outcast, and so far they've been behaving absolutely perfectly. On the Kraton, I'm running the Just Bash It RC ones, and they look even stronger. So there we got the soldering iron still working away. Let's turn the light off and see if we can see it glowing. Oh, look at that, guys. Can you see that? Look at that, the whole tip is glowing. The whole soldering iron is glowing red hot. That is crazy. Even with the light on, look, you can still see it glowing. Man, that's got some heat coming out of that bad boy. Oh, guys, it died. It's not hot anymore. I had it chilling there for like 10, 20 minutes. I'm going to have to go back to the old trusty little torch. So I'm just going to have to do it this way. So I'm going to do this for a little while, and then we're going to get you back on. Hopefully it works. We're coming out. That's one thing that Loctite cannot win against is heat. Yes. Someone said, why is it called an ugga dugger? It's because that's sort of like the noise it makes. There we go. So next, we've got to replace this centre brace with an M2C one, so out with the old one. Now the newer one comes with an M4 screw in here instead of the M3, because the M3 one sometimes breaks. So the kit comes with a drill bit, stab a Loctite on the screw, and it even comes with a nut that you can put underneath for added security. So next we've got to fit these Gpm Hinge Pin Braces. So out with the old, and in with the new. Alright, so these two screws here, I've actually broken these off before in the Kraton, and they're a pain in the butt to get out. So what I'm going to do in this one, I'm going to take those two screws out and put a longer one in, because then if they snap off again, I'll be able to get hold of them from that side and unscrew them. And also, I'm not going to use any Loctite on these screws, because when they snap, it's going to be very difficult to get them out. So I'm just going to have to keep an eye on these and make sure that they stay tight. Same with these two here, no Loctite, because these could be a pain in the butt to get out. And I'll tell you what's really bad is if one of these come out, but then you try and do the other one, and instead the opposite side one comes out, that makes it so difficult to take the whole front end off. So I'm going to keep these two here Loctited in, so they stay set. And these ones, I'm just going to have to check every now and then. Oh man, just look at the length of it. That's going to be massive. Yeah, definitely going to be massive. Oh, check it out, guys. We're getting there. Oh, man. That is going to be long. Well, it is long. I don't know what we're going to do with the body. Maybe I'm going to put some body posts here. Or maybe I can try and extend it. Maybe glue some Lexan to it or something and try and make it a bit longer. I don't know, guys. What do you reckon? So here's the size of a normal buggy. And here's the size of this one. I mean, these here, when you put a lot of power through them, they start pulling wheelies, and it's difficult to lay down the power. With this, we're going to be able to put so much more power through it, and it's going to be less likely for the wheels to come up, meaning we're going to hit the ramp a lot faster, meaning we should fly a lot further. Could this be the Paddlesworth long jump winner, and could we even win a world record with it? Maybe we'll try that one day. I'll tell you what, guys, I've learnt one thing here, is how the wiring is supposed to go on these Armour servos. Because I was usually trying to get the wire to come out through here and it's all getting trapped. So if you look here, the wire's supposed to come through here, along here, along here. And then hopefully that's all going to bolt on without any wires getting trapped. Oh, it's coming together, guys, and it's fitting together absolutely perfectly. One little slight boo-boo here, these wires here, they should go underneath here. And I've tried taking this off and I've rounded it off now because I've Loctited it in too strongly. But no big deal. I've got to take out the receiver anyway so I can fit in the Dumbo one. So while we do that, I can reroute these wires underneath. I've still got to order some longer drive shafts, so I can't get them in quite yet for the front and for the rear. Look at that, guys. That's the drive shaft that came out of it. That's how much longer it's got to be. I want to get the block here, the new one from Armour Creighton 6S from the version 4, because on that one there, it's got a better support that kind of supports the whole tower. Side guard wires, I don't know. I don't know if to put these ones on there, or I might have a look to see what the Mojave's got, and then we're going to have a look later. So next, I've got to change over these connectors over to the XT90s because these are what I run on all of my LiPo batteries. And then we can power it up, make sure that all the radio system works, make sure that it goes forward, reverse, all the steering works the right way. And then we've got the shock standoffs to fit and the pillow balls. Oopsie. Guys, you've got to be careful when you solder these. If you keep the heat on there for too long, you're going to melt the connector like I did on here. So it's a good idea to get the other side of the connector and actually fit it onto there because it's going to take some of the heat away. I've actually run out of connectors, so I'm going to have to repurpose these old ones. Do you know what? That's not my most proud soldering job. I mean, it's going to hold. I don't really know what's going on. I've got this solder here. This is actually some old school solder, which is actually full lead. I got it from Spike. He's got a whole massive, great big drum of it, and it does actually solder really well. But I don't know if this soldering iron here just gets a little bit too hot for it. Because my old soldering iron used to be a little bit colder, and that one's burnt out. So maybe it's that. I mean, this is usually the solder that I use, so maybe I've got to get some more of that. Or maybe I've just got to learn how to solder. Boom! Can't see it now. No, look! We got Paddlesworth RC Park just doing a live stream.
That's why I'd rather use an Armour.
Look at that, everybody in the house. So they're building a rally car for their rally track that they've got down Paddlesworth now. And I've got my Porsche 911 rally car ready. So hopefully we can go to Paddlesworth soon. I can take that along. I want to take the Raminator along. I want to take the Creighton, the X-Maxes, and this thing here to hopefully win the long jump. So next, let's plug it all in and see if it works.
But that's why I'd use an Armour.
Boom! Guys, it's gonna work. We just got to order some drive shafts, a few other parts, and this thing is gonna be in action. So next, we've got to fit these standoffs. So I'm going to do one on camera, and I'll do the rest of them off camera. So this is definitely one of the major weak spots on these Armour cars. I've broken so many of these, and since fitting these M2C ones to my cars, they've not broken since. When these break, it always breaks off right at this point here, and I think the reason being is, well, one reason it's only an M3, and the second reason, if we look in here, it's actually hollow. So it's got a lot of room in there for it to keep flexing around and snapping off. But you compare that to this one here, how much bigger that thread is, and you'll see why it is so much stronger. But we do need to drill out that hole, and luckily the kit comes with a drill bit supplied. So run it through, bolt a new one on, boom. Boom! A little bit on the long side at the back here, but I suppose that's to cater for some thicker shock towers. So there we go, got them all mounted. So next, we've got to fit these pillow ball retaining nuts. So if we have a look at the stock ones, they've got an O-ring on there to hold them in place, but it doesn't always work. So these M2C ones, they've got that shoulder there, and that really does wedge them in there and stops them from coming loose. Boom! So guys, I know I said I want this to be the long jump competition winner, but I think it's also now the perfect platform for some speed runs. So I'm going to do some speed runs with this. I want to get it way over 100 miles an hour. I think it's got it in it. I think it's capable. So we're going to order up the shafts. We're going to order up a couple of the other bits. We're going to finish this project off. And then once it's done, we're going to get it out in the car park, give it a speed run, see how fast it really goes, see how well it performs, and get it ready for the Paddlesworth long jump competition. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that video. I'll see you over on one of these videos here in a sec.